know why? Because we believe that the financial institution creates more money to the economy than the individual. But we don't say that the individual cash does not have the impact, because in Nigeria, or let's say generally, we have some people that probably don't use bank and they spend their cash within their house. Or let's assume that the people that go to club, for example, you go to Quilos, you go to Cubana. How do you want the government to record the physical cash of 10 million, 20 million being spent at this club? So it will be difficult for the government to record the activities of that physical cash rather than deposit. So if the desire or the motive of the public is to hold a cash, then this creates a little money to the economy. Don't be confused. So we don't say that it does not have the impact if you take your money to the market, or probably you go to a club to spend the money. But it may be difficult for the government to take the record of all this, right? So, but if the motive or the desire of the citizen is to to deposit or to save into the bank, so we believe that this create or expand the money supply. The money supply. So number next. Now, number next is one of the important points to determine the money supply. I will call this to be the high-powered money. High-powered money, or sometimes they call it a monetary base, right? A monetary base. So this is the total currency in the hand of the public plus the sum of the reserve, the bank reserve of all the financial institutions we have in the country, right? So under the high-power money, it is the sum of the bank reserve of all the financial institutions and the total money we have in the hand of the public. This is mainly determine the money supply we have in the economy. So if the bank reserve of all the commercial bank is increasing, people are deposit, and these people have enough cash within their disposal, to create the money supply, then this increase it increase the money supply we have in the economy. And the CPN can regulate through the reserve required ratio by trying to increase the minimum amount that are expected to fix with the commercial bank before, with the CBN or the monetary authority before they can operate in the economy. So the high power money, and that is what we use to determine the money multiplier. We use the high power money to determine the money multiplier, through the M1, M2, and M3. So here, it's just the total money, the total currency, whether the dollar, the currency we have in the hand of the public, plus the sum of all the financial institutions, the bank reserve, right? The bank reserve. And we are trying to explain what the bank reserve is all about. So let's assume that Bank A have 100 billion, Bank B have 200 billion, then Bank C have what? 300 billion, right? So irrespective of this amount, you are expected to fix a particular amount with the monetary authority before you can operate as a financial institution in the country, right? So let's say in Nigeria, for example, we have 25 billion, right? So out of the 25 billion, if you remove 25 billion from this 100 billion, that means Bank A, we have 75 billion to operate. We have 75 billion to do some transaction, and we also have some policy that will limit them not to even spend up to this amount, because we have like a cash ratio policy, like if the fixed deposit, they only have the right to spend like 75% of the fixed deposit and all that. But that's not what we're talking about. Now, 25 minus this, we have 75. So within the fourth or the tiers of this bank, they only have 75 billion to do the normal transaction. So 25 from this, from Bank B we have 175 billion for what? Day-to-day transaction. While the Bank C we have what? We have 275 billion to do the transaction, right? So each amount here is what we call a bank reserve. So the physical cash available to them to do a transaction. But the total of this reserve is what we call high-powered money. The total of this reserve is what we call high-powered money or monetary base. It's the sum of the sum of all the financial institutions, the bank reserve, to do a day-to-day business, and the physical cash we have in the hand of the world, in the hand of the public. And the last one here we have class orders. So what we mean by orders is, it is not just this for alone that determine the quantity of the money supply to the market. Also, we also have, like other, maybe like interest rate, we have the income of the consumer and all that. So under the interest rate, when the interest rate is high, this serves as incentive for the customer to bring their money to the bank to fix, right? But when the interest rate is low, then these people will, it discourage them from saving their money, right? So I'm going to have the income of the consumer. So that means a country with the high level of income per capita try to create, expand the economy, rather than people with low income, with low income. So these are the determinant of money supply. These are the determinant of money supply. We have the reserve, required reserve ratio, that the minimum amount of money that any commercial bank is expected to fix with the monetary authority before you can operate as a commercial bank in the country. While the level of the bank reserve is the physical cash available for the commercial bank to operate in the economy, or sometimes we call it excess reserve, right? So we also have the desire of the public to hold cash or deposit. I'm trying to explain here that if the motive of the public is to hold their physical cash, then they create a little money in the economy. But if the motive or the desire of the public is to deposit, then these people try to expand the money supply we have in the economy, because we believe that more money is being created through the commercial bank rather than the physical cash. And we also have high power money to be the sum of the bank reserve, the total sum of all the financial institution reserve, and the physical cash in the hand of the public. Then the other year we try to explain about the income, the interest rate, that increase in income also try to create more money supply we have in the economy, while the decrease in income limits the money supply we have in the economy. Now the last one, derivation of money multiplier. Class. In derivation of money multiplier, remember that we have M1, right? And we also use the high power money, right? It is part of the determinant of money supply to derive the money multiplier. But under the M1, remember that the M1 is the currency in the hand of the public plus the demand deposit, right? So under the M1 is the currency in the hand of the public plus demand deposit, while the M1 under the high power money is the reserve ratio plus the currency in the hand of the public, right? So now, in using this together to calculate the money multiplier, we have M1 I, right? This will be C, and let's say demand deposit plus this divided by reserve ratio plus this, right? So just divide the right hand side by D, right? By D. So in doing this, we have M1 H to be equal to D divided by D plus C divided by D all over R divided by D plus C divided by D, right? Class, I can rewrite this to be M1 D, right? 1 D divided by D, 1 plus CD, right? All over R D plus CD, right? Class, the C divided by D is the same thing as currency ratio, right? So you can say the currency ratio is the same thing as CD, and required reserve ratio is the same thing as RD, right? So let's replace this with what we have. So you can say the M1H will be 1 plus CR all over this plus what? CR, right? So to determine the M1, for monetary multiplier, we can say the M1 will be 1 CR all over RR plus this divided by what? H divided by H. And what this thing is saying is increase in money supply will bring about the decrease in the reserve ratio, or the reserve required ratio, and the currency in the hand of the public, right? The currency ratio and reserve ratio is increasing. That means the movement, between the M1 and this, the variable or the component here is inversely related. When this is increasing, the other one is what? Is decreasing. Now class, to determine the M2, which is what we are using in this country, this is what we are using to determine the total money we have in the economy in Nigeria. So M2 is the same thing as demand deposit, remember, plus the currency in the hand of the public, plus the time deposit, But under the high power money here, we have the reserve required ratio. We added the excess reserve of all these commercial banks plus the what? The currency in the hand of the public, right? So let us divide this together. We have M2H will be equal to this plus C plus TD divided by R plus the excess reserve plus this, right? So divide everything by D. Divide the right hand side, right? By D. Class, we have this M2B, this D plus CD plus TD, right? All over RD plus CD, right? Plus this, then plus this, right? Class, we can write this to be M2H, which will be equal to 1. Now, remember that the C divided by D is the same thing as currency ratio, right? So you can say this R and TD now, which is time deposit, we can write this to be what? This. Right? That is the ratio of the fixed deposit all over R. Then the excess reserve can be written into excess reserve ratio plus the currency ratio, right? So the M2 now will now be what? 1 plus CR plus TD all over RR plus ER plus CD multiplied by what? H, which means that increase in this is bringing about the decrease in any of these components. It's bringing about the decrease in any of these components, right? So when money supply is increasing, so the currency ratio, the reserve requirement is decreasing and all that, right? Is decreasing. And this is what we currently use in this country. We use the M2 to determine the total money supply we have in the economy. Now the M3. M3. Class, this is M3. You can see that for M3 we try to introduce DN, which is the same thing as the deposit of the non-financial bank. So we introduce RP, which is the portion of the deposit, right? So we can have the M3 to be D, the deposit plus the portion of the deposit and deposit of the non-financial bank plus the deposit of the non-financial bank plus the currency ratio, multiplied by this, the demand plus the deposit of the non-financial bank, and this is the high power money, the H, which is the reserve ratio plus this and this. We try to interpret these two here, the portion of the deposit and the deposit of the non-financial bank plus the currency ratio plus the currency, the demand deposit and the deposit of the non-financial bank, right? So when you try to, and you know this before now, that R, small r is the reserve ratio divided by the demand deposit, or which is the same thing as this. So the currency ratio is C divided by D, right? So we try to interpret this here. You can see with this. So with this and this and this, it's just like try to factorize to get this. So this is the final for M3. So and we also have some countries that also use M3, but currently now in Nigeria we use what? We use M2. And I hope you're enjoying this class. So I will also advise to introduce our channel to your friends so that they can also enjoy this. So try to subscribe and introduce the channel to your people, your colleagues, for you to enjoy more of this. Thank you very much.